Hello everyone, my name is Hyunjae Lee and it is a great honor to be here today. Before beginning my presentation, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the Research Institute. Thank you for recommending me as a speaker and for providing the opportunity to share my work. Today, a study title, Systematic Engineering of Saccharomyces cerevisiae for the production of heme, a key flavor compound in alternative meat. In this presentation, we'll briefly explain the importance of heme, outline the engineering strategies applied to enhance heme biosynthesis, and summarize the key outcomes observed during the production process. The flow of today's presentation will be as follows. First, heme is an essential prosthetic group found in various proteins, including hemoglobin and myoglobin. It features a porphyrin ring with a central iron, and this structure enables several crucial biological functions, such as oxygen transport, electron transfer, and various catalytic reactions within the cell. Beyond these biological roles, heme also carries significant industrial value. In the food industry, it plays a key role in mimicking the color and flavor characteristics associated with alternative meat. And in the pharmaceutical field, heme is commonly used as a source of dietary iron. It also finds application in cosmetics, biosensors, agriculture, and various energy-related technologies. Because of this broad versatility, it is increasingly recognized as an important molecular platform for industrial application. Among the many applications of heme, one of the most prominent is its use in the alternative meat industry. As interesting plant-based meat continue to grow and grow, the food industry began exploring this field several decades ago. Early products relied on textured vegetable proteins. Then, as technological advancement, diversification of raw materials, and the introduction of high moisture extrusion allowed products to better mimic the texture of meat. More recently, ham extract from plant source has been added to help mimic the characteristic flavor associated with plant-based meat. As a result, modern plant-based meat products can mimic the sensory and even nutritional profiles of conventional meat much more closely than before. Up to this point, most industrial ham production has relied on extraction from animal blood. However, this approach presents several limitations, not only ethical issues related to slaughter, low production efficiency, impurity, and the risk of microbial contamination. Because of these challenges, there is a growing need for animal-free production technologies. So today, microbial production has emerged as a promising alternative. With this need in mind, many studies have explored the use of various microorganisms for hemp production. Escherichia coli has been widely used as a model system due to its rapid growth and easy of genetic manipulation. By introducing hemp biosynthesis gene clusters, titers about 1 gram per liter have been reported. However, E. coli is not a grass organism and can't be directly applied to food applications. In addition, its dependence on external cofactors also limit its sustainability as a food-grade production platform. In contrast, Acerevija is a GRAS, food grade microorganism widely used in industrial food processes. As a eukaryote, it contains organelles such as mitochondria, giving it advantage in protein folding and post-translational modification. It also benefits from well-established genetic engineering tools and synthetic biology toolkit. However, several limitations remain, including slower growth and relatively low secretion efficiency. In addition, its hem biostasis pathway is divided between the cytosol and the mitochondria, so these compartmentalizations create metabolic bottlenecks and highlighting the importance of pathway optimization for efficient hem production. Despite these technical limitations, Saccharomyces cerevisiae offers strong potential as a testbed for precision fermentations. A technology that enables targeted production of specific high-value compound. Ham is one of the representative target, and a robust yeast-based system may help expand precision fermentation technology to many other high-value materials. In fact, yeast-based compound and extract are already utilized industrial applications, further demonstrating the practicality of yeast-based precision fermentation. Based on this background, the following sections will outline 3 key chapters that address the limitations of conventional ham production and present the approach used to establish a high-efficiency yeast platform for ham biostasis. In this section, the focus was on identifying wild-type Saccharomyces cerevisiae strains with strong ham producing capacity and optimizing fermentation conditions. The first part of this study began with a sample question. Which wild-type strains can naturally produce high levels of ham? And once identified, how far can their productivity be pushed through fermentation optimization? To explore these questions, various wild-type Saccharomyces cerevisiae strains used in the food industry were evaluated. First, the ham-producing abilities of 31 wild-type strains were compared with the laboratory strain D452-2. Most wild strains produce higher ham concentration than D450-2. Among them, KCCM 12638, a strain used as an American whiskey starter, showed more than 3 times higher ham production. It was therefore selected as a primary strain for further study. Next, batch fermentation was performed to optimize fermentation conditions, temperature, agitation, and minimal medium, and byproduct media such as molasses and consumed liquor were compared. Although galactose supported higher ham production, but its cost made it impractical. Thus, glucose was chosen as the final carbon source. Through this optimization, the 40YP50D medium increased ham production by 2.3-fold, reaching approximately 14 mg per liter of ham. To further enhance productivity, a fed batch fermentation strategy was tested. An intermittent feeding approach was applied. After initial glucose depletion, 20 grams per liter glucose was supplied periodically. However, this resulted in only 17.2 grams per liter biomass and 8.2 milligram per liter of hem, even lower than the previous batch fermentation result. So this indicated that fed batch fermentation is not always beneficial, especially when feeding is not aligned with metabolic demand. A major reason for this reduction was the well-known Kraepelin effect in Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Excess glucose-induced overflow metabolism, leading to ethanol accumulation and reducing energy efficiency and growth rate. So to overcome this limitation, a continuous feeding strategy was introduced. Initial glucose was lowered to 20 grams per liter, and feeding rate was controlled, maintained low glucose levels, keeping ethanol low below 15 grams per liter. Fed batch fermentation was then performed at pH 3.5, 4.5, and 5.5. The pH 4.5 condition produced the best performance for hem production. Biomass reached about 120 grams per liter, and hem concentration reached about 48 mg per liter. It is the highest hem concentration recorded in this chapter. To evaluate the maximum achievable hem titer, the intracellular hem tolerance limit was examined. Medium containing 0 to 4 millimole hem showed toxicity above 0.5 millimole of hem. At 0.2 millimole of hem, no growth inhibition was observed, and intracellular hem reached approximately 25 mg per gram cell mass. So considering that biomass reached about 120 grams per liter, up to 3 grams per liter of intracellular hem is theoretically achievable without toxicity. In summary, from wild-type strain selection to medium optimization and fed batch fermentation strategy design, a maximum hem titer of 48.5 mg per liter was achieved. This result highlights Saccharomyces cerevisiae as a high-efficiency platform for food-grade hem production. So, to summarize Chapter 1, the non-GM fermentation strategy clearly improved hem production, but the final titer was still far below industrial requirement, and then naturally lead to the next question: if fermentation optimization alone isn't enough, how far can hem production be pushed with pathway engineering? So, hem biostasis in Saccharomyces cerevisiae is a multi-step pathway that spans both the cytosol and mitochondria. To significantly enhance this pathway, several metabolic bottlenecks needed to be addressed. So, first bottleneck was the low expression of rate-limiting enzymes. Several studies have already identified 4 key enzymes that slow down the pathway. So initially try to overexpress with each gene under strong promoter, and due to the transcriptional repressor ROX1 suppress HAM13 enzyme, so ROX1 was deleted to relieve that repression. The second challenge involved precursor availability. The first commit precursor, 5-ALA, is synthesized from succinyl-CoA and glycine. To improve this flux, 3 glycine diverting genes were deleted. So also evaluated POG1, a dual function protein involved in protoporphyrin 9 uptake and hem export, by testing both deletion and overexpression. And finally, hem degradation by HMX1 represented another major bottleneck. To prevent unnecessary loss of product, HMX1 was knocked out. All genetic modification were performed using the CRISPR-Cas9 genome editing system, so either by replacing native promoter or introducing early stop SNP mutations to disrupt gene function. At first, promoter replacement alone produced no meaningful improvement compared with the parental strain D452-2. So this suggests that upstream regulatory elements interfere with the GPDN truncated HXT7 promoters. So shifted toward the classical YIP-based overexpression approach. With this method, a clear result emerged. HEM12 overexpression produced a nearly four-fold increase in HEM production. HEM2 and HEM3 overexpression strains also show increase and truncated HXT7 promoter proved to be the most effective promoter for the HEM biostatic pathway. Then evaluate whether adding more rate-limiting enzymes for top of HEM12 would create synergy. Among all tested combinations, only the HEM3 and HEM12 strain produced a slight improvement, reaching 2.4 mg per liter HEM. This strain, named H3 and 12, became the base of subsequent engineering. Next, tested several pathway rewiring strategies. Disruption of ROX1 did not increase HEM beyond the H3 and 12 background strain. Disruption the 3-glycine diverting genes also had no effect, indicating that HEM1 enzyme is not the bottleneck in this strain. In contrast, POG1 overexpression improved HEM by about 18% because of enhanced protoporphyrin 9 availability, and HMX1 disruption increased intracellular HEM by roughly about 40%, clearly demonstrating the benefit of blocking HEM degradation. By combining POG1 overexpression with HMX1 deletion, the best performing strain was constructed. This engineering strain produced 4.6 mg per liter HEM in flask batch fermentation. To assess performance at scale, the top 2 strains were tested in fed batch fermentation. The POG1 overexpressing strain, shown in red, achieved 63 g per liter biomass and a maximum HEM titer of 28 mg per liter. In addition, to examine downstreaming limitation, HEM14 and HEM15 were overexpressed. This significantly increased HEM production, revealing a new downstream bottleneck created by upstream accumulation of protoporphyrin 9. Finally, to test whether increasing the flux into the pathway further would help, copy number of HEM12 was increased by integrating expression cassette into each 4 chromosomal site, but unexpectedly, HEM production decreased by 15 to 28%. This is showing that simply increasing gene copy number can disrupt metabolic balance. So, in complex pathways like HEM biosynthetic pathway, balanced expression is far more important than overexpression alone. So, in this chapter, the HEM biosynthetic pathway was improved through 3 major rational engineering strategies. First, enhancing rate-limiting enzymes. Second, increasing precursor availability. Third, blocking ham degradation. So together, these strategies established a high-efficiency, rationally engineered intracellular ham production system. So, previous chapter 2 demonstrated how rational metabolic engineering can significantly enhance intracellular ham levels, but even with this enhancement, a fundamental limitation still remains. Rational engineering can only modify what is already known, so it cannot uncover novel genes involved in ham biostasis. So, and that lead into the chapter 3 of this research, which aims to identify previously unrecognized genetic factors by establish a ham responsive phenotype-based growth selection system. Previous approaches relied on traditional rational metabolic engineering based on already known scientific knowledge. However, such strategies cannot reveal novel contributors to ham production. So to address this limitation, a ham-dependent growth selection system was developed in which Saccharomyces cerevisiae growth directly reflect intracellular ham concentration. Compared to a typical GFP-based reporter, this growth-based system offers lower quantitative sensitivity but utilize an antibiotic resistance marker that generate a binary growth phenotype. So this enables high screening efficiency and strong selectivity. For the purpose of discovering genes associated with ham production, this binary system is actually far more suitable than fluorescence-based reporter. This selection system enables genome-scale screening using CRISPR interference. CRISPR interference employs an inactive form, that Cas9, which block transcription without cutting DNA. Guide RNAs bind either to the endogenous promoter or early coding region of the target gene, reducing transcriptional output without altering the genetic sequence. The CRISPR interference library used in this work contain guide RNAs covering nearby all 6,500 open-reading frames in Saccharomyces cerevisiae. The workflow proceeds by introducing the CRISPR interference library into the reporter strain and culturing the population in the presence of aureobastin, an antibiotic whose resistance depends on intracellular ham. Only mutant exhibiting elevated ham levels, meaning repression of certain genes enhance ham biostasis, are able to survive. This enables a direct connection between gene suppression and growth phenotype, allowing unbiased discovery of genes unrelated to classic ham biostatic pathway. To validate the system, strains containing different intracellular ham levels were tested under identical conditions. The reporter consistently reflected ham concentration, demonstrating strong potential as a quantitative ham sensor. So a total of 1,095 mutants were initially identified. Applying a cutoff at least threefold higher growth than the control strain reduced this to 15 candidate strains. In batch fermentation, all 15 candidates produce more ham concentration ranging from 20% to 130% above the control strain. But sequencing revealed that only 2 mutants contained intact CRISPR interference target sequence. The remaining 13 mutant likely resulted from homologous recombination between the plasmid encoded history marker and genomic regions, cause loss of the CRISPR-I cassette while retaining the marker. Despite losing the cassette, these mutants still produced more ham. The mechanism is not fully clear, but could involve off-target effect or spontaneous genetic change induced under strong selection pressure. So among the verified this repression of MPR1 and PIH1 gene significantly increased ham production. This demonstrates that the selection system can successfully identify previously unrecognized genetic regulators of ham biostasis. So in chapter 3, a ham responsive reporter system was constructed and validated. A phenotype-based selection strategy was also established. More than 1,000 mutants were screened, and MPR1 and PIH1 were identified as novel genetic targets that enhance ham production. These results highlight the system as a powerful and high-efficiency screening tool, while also emphasizing the need for a more stable and precise selection platform for future study. In final summary, the results from all three chapters collectively demonstrate the establishment of an efficient ham producing platform based on Saccharomyces cerevisiae beyond ham production itself. This platform holds strong potential for future application in precision fermentation-based food industry and advanced biomaterial manufacturing. Thank you once again for inviting me to speak today. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Thank you very much. Thank you.